morning, Malacañang Press Corps and guests. Welcome sa Mindanao R. Bangon Marawi. Today we have PCOO Assistant Secretary Attorney Chris Balan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rocky. Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. To give us updates on Bangon Marawi, we have the Department of National Defense Secretary Delfin and Lorenzana. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, let us all give a warm welcome to DND Secretary Lorenzana.
Thank you, Chris. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I'm happy to be here again to give a briefing on Marawi operations sa kayong Task Force Bangon Marawi. Just a quick recap of the data that I have here with me. On military operations, there are already 666 enemy neutralized, sabihin na napapatay. Civilians killed by terrorists, I think, remained the same, 47. Firearms seized from the enemy, 685. Civilians rescued by government security forces since the start remains at 1,728. Killed in action, it's now 147, including, I think, 4 policemen. Wounded in action, I think it's more than 1,500 already. Status of donations as of 12 September, yun ang tanggap nating cash. For Marawi, wounded in action plus killed in action is 13.3 million pesos. For the Marawi internally displaced persons, is 992,840 pesos. Update on Task Force Bangon Marawi. On housing, the transitional shelters are already being built. Construction installment of flooring muna ngayon for the transitional quarters shelters has started last September 8. The subcommittee on housing convened on 13 September 2017 to discuss the provision of water supply in the transitional shelter site in Marawi City. Philinvest has expressed its willingness to assist the task force in the provision of water supply. Philinvest shall meet with local water utility Lua to work on a plan to provide the service. The OCD's Quick Response Fund may be utilized to support such projects as water system to address the immediate needs of Marawi IDPs. On psychological interventions, dahil we know that people that are being bothered mentally and emotionally, the Task Force Bangon Marawi, in partnership with Mindanao State University, MSU, Marawi Sultanates League, and the Philippine Army, conducted a moral recovery and psychological program last 13 September at Buron School of Fisheries, which is 2 days ago, in Iligan City. Part of the program was a message delivered by the ulamas to the internally displaced persons, focusing on the teachings of the Quran and Prophet Muhammad. Local artist Mali Sulaiman performed his original piece entitled Bangon Marawi during the activity. This is a song. The Philippine Army facilitated the drawing activity to the children in Buron Evacuation Center. Father women soldiers distributed stuffed toys to the children. This is the status of foreign assistance to the Marawi incident. Australia has announced to give 1 billion pesos. 1 billion pesos. The US has announced also a 730 million peso assistance. Japan, 100 million. Thailand, 100 million. All in pesos. China, 85 million, which consists of 70 million for wounded and 15 million for the rehabilitation. EU has pledged 49 million. I think that's it for the quick recap of what's happening in Marawi. Now, let me draw your attention to this map on my right. So this is the battle area, main battle area before. Ito nag-umpisa yan eh. From there, papunta dito. Now, Mapandi Bridge is somewhere there where we went with the President last time. We went there last week. Now, this was taken about a week, more than a week ago. Andito pa yung tropa natin. Now, they are, andito na lang siguro. Konti na lang yung nagtitira rito. This is just 1.5 barangay wide. The area is just 1.5 barangay. That's why I've been told by our ground commanders that malapit na raw. They cannot just say when because they are afraid to set a deadline. Baka mabulilyaso na naman tayo, mag-announce tayo, hindi naman matutupad. Nakakahiya na. Nasunog na, 3 beses ako nasunog dyan eh. So, konting tiis na lang. Anyway, our troops are doing their best. In fact, what's so unfortunate is that 3 days ago, we lost 1 captain and 1 enlisted personnel while they were recovering 1 building here, yung malaking building na nila. Yung most na pinuntahan namin is somewhere, yung Grand Mosque, somewhere here, which is just very near where the fighting was being held. Andun kami kasi, pumaputok pa yan eh. Pumaputok pa yung ano doon. And the President, gusto pa niya lumapit pero pinigilan na namin siya kasi baka ma-estribo ulit tayo doon. So that's what's happening on the ground. Maybe we should go into Q&A.
Okay, MPC questions. Bangon Marawi first. Questions. Maricel Halili, TV5.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, I just would like to clarify reports na meron daw pong mga government firearms yung nakita na ginagamit din ngayon ng mga terrorists. Have we identified kung paano po napunta na sa kamay ng mga maute, yung mga government firearms?
Yeah, many ways that the Maotis acquired these firearms from the government. Unang-una, yung mga inaambus nilang military noon. When they ambush the military, they also get the firearms, even the uniform. Pati nga combat boots kung man na kinukuha nila. That's one. Second is the procure from unscrupulous soldiers. Marami yung nagbibinta kasi niyan ng mga sundalo noon. Ewan ko ngayon kung ano pa yan, prevalent pa yan. And number 3, which is actually yung nangyari, this happened many years ago when our government supported some of the mga leaders doon, like one, I can remember Ali Dimapuro. He was given some firearms during the time of Marcos and to help us in the security operations. So marami tayong naibigay sa kanilang baril na hindi na natin na-recover because it's very difficult to recover the firearms once they are given to them. So ito lahat yung mga nakukuha natin and hindi pa natin natiyak, we have not yet determined which unit lost them. But I'm certain that in the Battle of Abu Bakar, Camp Abu Bakar before, in 2001, we lost a lot of soldiers there plus their firearms. So yun ang sources nila. And also, they have been smuggling in from the outside through the southern back door yung mga galing din sa labas na firearms na supported by the terrorist groups, foreign terrorist groups.
Sir, you mentioned about soldiers who sold firearms to the terrorists. Have we identified those soldiers and ano na po yung actions?
Kami noon, nung nasa batalyon pa ako, we have identified them and we punished them. We punish those. We discharge them, we court-martial them. That is the penalty of even losing firearms, kahit na legitimate na losses yan, na hindi ma-explain na pag malaman namin kasalanan niya na nawala, then they are court-martialed. Selling is, or magbibinta ka ng baril sa labas, is a big offense in the military and court-martial yan, mabibilanggo pa. Babayaran pa niya yung firearms.
Sir, how many soldiers are we talking about?
Sa akin noon, I think in my battalion was only one. That was long time ago, sa 87 pa. Hindi ko alam, sabi ko kung mayroon pang nangyayari. But ang isa pa pala, yung mga pilferage, sometimes our armory are being ransacked by sometimes, siguro, lawless elements. Sometimes with the connivance of our soldiers. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's one of those sources of firearms.
Pia Ranyada.
Good morning, sir. Sir, just
Hi,
on
Pia.
the foreign donations, Sir, you mentioned yung mga amounts. These are all for Marawi rehabilitation, correct po?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yung nahuli kong sinabi, except the
From
one
China.
from China na 85, specific kasi yung 65 million for the soldiers na wounded at saka yung namatay.
So sir, hindi po kasama dito yung 370 million worth of guns which China donated?
No, hindi pa. Kasi yung donations nila na mga firearms and ammunition, especially the M16s, all went to the PNP. Kasi naghahanap sila ng, PNP is buying long firearms for their soldiers, for their policemen. So binigay namin sa kanila lahat yun.
So none of the rifles donated by China were used in the Marawi?
Some of the policemen who are there because there is a special action force there. Just hindi naman sila marami, siguro isang dalawang company or isang batalyon. But I'm sure, pero nandun sila, hindi pa naman dumarating yung yung firearms from China. So palagay ko meron na silang ginagamit. I don't think pinadala ni Bato doon yung mga bagong dating eh. I think he gave it to other areas that need those firearms.
Is there any other reason why the military decided not to use these firearms aside from the fact that the
Decision kasi ni
PNP
Presidente yun eh because alam ni Presidente na kulang yung long firearms ng police. So sabi niya ibigay natin sa and isa pa, we have sufficient firearms in the armed forces.
So sir, nothing to do with quality, with the fact na compatible?
No. They're good. They're good. Sinubukan na namin yan eh. We have also tested some bago namin binigay sa kanila. And the verdict is they are good firearms. Pati yung ammunition na binigay sa atin.
Sir, lastly, just on the other amounts donated by the other countries. Sir, these are all generally for rehabilitation. There's no specific aspect of rehab that was...
Sabi nila for Marawi, so we assume na kung hindi naman specific na wounded, we give it to the rehabilitation.
Alright.
Kasi kulang eh. Wala pang 1 million yung natatanggap natin cash for the rehab, while we already have 13 million for the wounded. So siguro dagdagan na naman, ibigay na natin sa rehabilitation kasi we need more funds for the rehabilitation.
So sir, with these amounts, it's still not enough to cover the cost of rehabilitation in Marawi? Hindi pa po sapat yung, kailangan pa po ng additional?
Yeah, kasi nung nag-briefing when the committee on the rehabilitation of Marawi in the Senate, meron silang committee ron eh, na pinorm, new committee. The Senator Gringo Honasan asked me, what do I think is the ballpark, yung estimate lang, ballpark figure from what I see on the pictures. How much do we need to rehabilitate Marawi? Sabi ko, siguro, Mr. Senator, 50 billion. But when we went there last week with the President, early this week, I think 50 billion is not enough. Talagang grabe yung destruction. When you see that, when the fighting stops and I will bring you there, you will see how damaged the area is.
So sir, how much would we need?
Ngayon, we have already the post-conflict assessment group. They're starting already to go around yung mga clear area except yung meron pang mga barilan. Meron na namamasyal composed of the DPWH and the Army engineers to assess already kung anong. So malalaman natin yan in 2 weeks time, especially kung tapos na yung bakbakan doon. We will be able to at least accurately determine how much we need to rehabilitate Marawi City.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. On Bangon Marawi, Tina Mendez, Philippine Star.
Sir, good morning. Last week,
Saan na?
there-
Ay,
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, there was a statement from General Padilla na medyo depleted na yung funds ng AFP because of the Marawi incident, and that the AFP is asking for supplemental budget. Have you formally asked for this budget and how much?
Meron na kaming ni-request. I think the amount that was requested is something like 2.5 billion. Dahil what happened was that we did not ask additional budget from the government to prosecute yung ating operation sa Marawi. So ang ginamit ng armed forces is their funds up to kumuha mo na sila, in advance nila, for the procurement of ammunition, mga fuel, kailangan nila ng fuel, medicines for those who are ano doon. Plus the incidental expenses in sa evacuation, gumagamit din kami niyan. Ang malaki doon is the ammunition at saka yung mga explosives natin na ginagamit noon. So it adds up from yung ginagamit ng Army, the Marines, and the Air Force, especially the Air Force who are helping us. Plus the Navy also, they keep bringing people there, supplies from Manila there. It costs also money. So aggregate, yun ang ano namin. Hindi namin kinsinali yung yung gastos ng PNP na nag-participate doon. They have another, iba rin yung kanilang estimate doon.
So you are requesting from Congress or from the DBM?
From DBM lang, from DBM lang. Now, Congress also has pledged na kung kailangan namin daw ng supplemental for this, kung wala na sa, they can also allocate to us. Pero ang dyan, the bottom line is we still have to go to DBM kasi nasa kanya naman ang pera wala naman sa Congress Congress can allocate but it will still depend on how much money DBM has in its coffer.
Sir, anong response ni Budget Secretary?
Pardon?
What's the response of our Budget Secretary?
Ang sabi niya ay maghanap daw siya ng pera.
So how soon do you need this budget?
Hindi pa naman namin kailangan masyado kasi hindi pa naman tapos yung taon. We still have some reserve na but towards the end of this year, maybe towards this fourth quarter, medyo magigipit na kami and already we need replenishment.
So one last, yung expense ng AFP, different pa yun dun sa natap yung funds sa AFP modernization?
No, we are not using modernization to the operations sa Marawi.
Okay, thank
Talagang
you.
for procurement lang ng equipment yun.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, MPC questions about Bangon, Marawi? No more other issue. Rose Novenario.
Ang bilis mo naman. Gusto pa na magtanong
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, may mga pronouncements po si Presidente nito mga nakaraang araw tungkol po dun sa posibilidad na maaaring magdeklara siya ng martial law sa buong bansa. Sa palagay po ninyo, as martial law administrator po sa Mindanao, ano po yung mga factors na pwedeng i-consider para ideklara po yung martial law sa buong Pilipinas?
Sinabi na rin ni Presidente yan Sabi niya, kung yung left, sabi niya, left will start to have a massive protest, magsunog sila sa kalsada, they will disrupt the country, then I might. Sinabi na rin niya ang rason Well, I don't think, sa aking pananaw naman, estimate ko, very remote naman mangyari. Pero si Presidente lang kasi, he is very concerned that it might get out of hand. So, sabi niya, I might declare martial law. But I don't think the possibility that the left will be able to conduct a massive demonstration across the country, disrupting the civil government or the lives of the people, hindi naman siguro mangyayari yun.
Sir, follow up po. In case po na medyo may ganong sitwasyon na halimbawang sa palagay po ninyo mapupunta doon, ano po yung magiging papel dito ng militar? Halimbawa po yung National Capital Regional Command ng AFP.
We will cooperate with the police kasi sila ang dyan sa mga urban areas Our NCR command under Colonel Manangkil will support will coordinate with the police on what to do, also to mitigate the disruption of the lives of the people in Metro Manila.
Thank you po.
MPC question, Ina Andolong. Ina, thank you.
For ASEC Ablan or maybe even Secretary Delfin, if you know the answer to this, but the President mentioned a possible holiday that he may declare in his interview with Mr. Tulfo yesterday, but he didn't mention specifically the date. Was he referring to September 21 when demonstrations are expected? Because he said he will declare a holiday para makaiwas na rin. Wala daw pong kasali doon sa posibleng gulo.
I'll answer that. I heard the President, hindi ko napakinggan yung interview niya kay Tulfo, but during my interaction with him early this week, sinabi niya na pagka pagka magkaroon ng massive rally sa Metro Manila at it might inconvenience the public, para hindi ma-inconvenience sabi na, hindi ko lang sila papasokin. I will declare wala nang papasok sa mga opisina. So, just para sabi niya, magkaroon sila ng yung demonstrator. They have pre-hand kung anong gawin nila dyan sa mga demonstration nila. That's what he said during our, pero hindi naman niya sinabi kung anong araw, but since the left is threatening to have this massive demonstration on the 21st, siguro baka 21st na gagawin. Basta pakikiramdaman naman daw niya kung kailan niya nang gagawin ng left yung kanilang threatened demonstration.
Just to clarify, sir, is it going to be a holiday, or will he only be suspending maybe work in government offices?
Suspending lang ng work ng government offices. So.
Okay. Sir, earlier, Secretary Lorenzana, earlier you mentioned that you don't think the left can conduct massive demonstrations across the country, which is why you believe remote yung possibility of the President declaring martial law across the country. But if massive demonstrations NCR-wide, do you think does that warrant a nationwide declaration of martial law?
That would depend on the President. I cannot second guess what the President will do kung may mangyari dito sa Metro Manila.
Thank you.
Okay, question. JP, to be followed by Laila.
Hey sir, good morning.
Hi,
Sir,
JP.
can you just describe or give us an idea how does the government sees the possibility of threats coming from the left right now? How do you perceive all of these actions?
How do I perceive yung threat nila? Wala naman kaming nakikita. Our intelligence people or even our field people do not have any indication that magkakaroon ng talagang malakihan na katulad ng mga nakaraan pa noon, mga tiyempo ni Marcos, na magkakaroon ng ganong klase. We do not have that indications in our reports. Even the civilian LGUs, wala rin naman sila nararamdaman sa babae.
Laila Salaveria.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, can you discuss with us our plans for Benham Rice, Philippine Rice? Earlier, you said we may need permanent structures there to assert our claim over the area. Matutuloy pa po ba ito?
That is one of the plans kasi ang pinakamababaw kasi the shallowest part of Benham Rice is about 50 meters. So maiksi lang, It's just like a plateau, ganun. It's about so many thousands of hectares then. And the plan of our plan sa armed forces is to put up a platform. Yung itukod mo doon yung malaking poste, pero masyadong mahaba. And the problem there is the weather there gets too harsh some parts of the year with waves as high as maybe 10 meters. So baka hindi tinabol yung platform. Some people are saying that we will put up i-anchor na lang para mag-float siya ng gano'n. Anyway, we will ask the experts on these kinds of things to advise us. But our plan now is to establish naval presence dyan sa Kasiguran. In Kasiguran, there is an airport there, Sildamios. There is a beautiful bay, protected bay, which Senator Angara is trying hard for us to develop, and I told him we will. Isa doon. Another one is in Polillo Island. We already have some, during World War II, that the island was used by the U.S. as an airstrip. So, isa doon sa Polillo, sa Kasiguran, another one in Cagayan, sa tip ng Cagayan. So, we'll have three jump-off point for our patrols in Benham Rice. Benham Rice is 13 million hectares. It's a huge area, as huge as Luzon, ang sabi nila, ang estimate ng. And it is the spawning ground of the bluefin tuna, the most expensive tuna in the world. So let us protect that. That is parang resource natin yan. And the corals there are so beautiful that we have to. And the problem there is other countries, the fishermen of other countries have been poaching there for a long time, coming from Taiwan, South Korea, China, even Japan comes to Benham rice. And we would like to protect what belongs to us. Yun ang ating plano.
But sir, as for the permanent structures, wala pa pong solid plans as of now?
Wala pa kaming in-allocate na pera, but meron na kaming plano mag-start ng structure na. But you have already, meron na tayong flag doon sa baba. Nagplant na ng flag, we already planted our flag there last June 12. Some drivers went there and planted the flag there, since sa mga mababaw na area.
Last na. When do you see the establishment of permanent structures in there?
Maybe sa estimate ko if we have the funds and we get the correct technology, maybe in 2 years' time. In 2 years' time, we'll be able to start siguro, and maybe another 1 year to establish it there. We want to have a platform na pwedeng magland ng helicopter. Our ship can also go near there and dock para naman we will have some presence there. Plus we can put there marine biologists, yung mga scientists natin to study the area.
Thank you po.
Okay. Last question na si Rose, MPC. Rose Navenario.
Ay, sir, good morning uli.
Good morning.
Sir, meron pong may status po nung nakaraang mga araw si retired General Joey Kakilala tungkol po dun sa alleged recruitment sa PMA Class 2006 para po sa maglunsad ng kudeta, yung isang popular politician. Meron po ba tayong info rito at nakipag-coordinate na po ba kayo kay Mr. Kakilala tungkol dito?
Wala naman kaming hindi ko kilala yung popular politician, pero si General kakilala ko siya. Magkakilala kami. But I don't know where he based his yung report niya na yon. We are checking that with him kasi kung saan natin nakuha yung nasagap yun. But on the whole, wala naman kami nakikita nakikita ng mga grouping ng mga disgruntled officers kasi before you can do that, there must be some grievances Kailangan mayroon kang gripes na hindi matugunan. And we do not see any of those indications now.
Thank you po.
Okay. Ina or Tina? Ina, to be followed by Lanesca.
Sir, related po dun sa mga nauna kong questions. The President also said yesterday that when he was warning demonstrators not to or against destroying property, sabi po niya, if you do it, the next thing ang kaharapin niyo would be the military and the police. Does this mean that the military will be deployed on September 21? And if so, can you give us an idea on their deployment and directives for them?
Wala naman kaming kung yung deployment, I cannot tell you because those are confidential. But ang maunang sa harap dyan are the policemen. It's only when the policemen need some more warm bodies when we will deploy our military.
And for ASEC Ablan, sir, I'd just like to get the palace's thoughts on reports that the PNP is now barring access sa media, sa spot reports. Is this policy sanctioned by the President or Malacañang?
We were informed by the PNP, INA, that the policy is the same as before. So reporters, journalists may still be able to retrieve blotters and other reports. So nothing has changed. It's still the same status quo.
Follow-up ba or other question, other issue? Lanesca to be followed by Pia.
Good morning po. Kay ASEC Ablan, sir. About the House reducing CHR budget to 1,000 pesos, critics of the administration are saying that it is indicative that that reduction is indicative that extrajudicial killings is a policy of this administration. So how do you respond to that? Since I asked you, Sec Abella, the last time if the executive will intervene ahead of the vote for the 1,000, and he said he won't. So the palace won't intervene. So
Yes.
Is reducing CHR budget to 1,000 pesos indicative that extrajudicial killings is a policy?
No, no, that's a stretch. If you recall, it has already been mentioned by other officers of the executive branch that the DBM and the OP actually submitted a budget of at least 600 million for the Commission on Human Rights. The reduction of the budget to 1,000 is a exercise of the check and balance power of the legislative branch. And just to put things in a perspective, the reduction of the 1,000 is only at the earlier stages of our budget process. If you recall, every year, we start our budget process at the earliest January of the previous year, and then the passage is hopefully by November and December. We're only in September right now, and we're at the level of the House of Representatives. This budget, although cut, will still have to be sent to the Senate for further discussion and deliberation. So we still have a long way to go. In fact, after the Senate, since the version of the Senate and the House may not always be the same, there will still be bicameral conference committee. So we're still a long, long way from the budget approval, and the reduction of the budget of the CHR to 1,000, we don't speak for Congress, but as a lawyer and a student of public policy, as I mentioned earlier, is an exercise of the legislative branch of its checks and balances. And maybe I can take this opportunity to explain those who are uninformed that there are only few times that the legislative can actually check on other branches, specifically on the executive branch. One time is when they can conduct investigations in aid of legislation. That's how they can pursue their check and balance power. The other is to actually review the budget. The House of Representatives is has the power of the purse. It originates from them. And the PCOO actually, like any other government agency, have to appear before congressmen. And this is the only opportunity for Congress, really, to hold us accountable. You know, they ask us, what did you do for the past year? This is what happened. Before we approve anything, you have to submit us this document. So I feel the reduction of the 1,000 is the Congress exercising its check and balance power to direct CHR and other agencies. It has reduced budget, including the NCIP and the ERC, to submit the documents and to justify their budget. And there, so that's the whole check and balances. This whole budget approval is the only time Congress can actually hold the executive branch accountable for the budget it used for the previous year, and to give its budget for the following year. And like I mentioned earlier, just to reiterate, this is still just at the start of the whole budgetary process. It will still go to the Senate, and you've already heard comments from our senators that they will restore the budget of the CHR. It's a totally legislative matter that the palace will respect. As far as we know, we submitted a budget for CHR.
Sir, yes, you mentioned about the executive submitting over 600 million
Yes.
budget for CHR. So are you hopeful? Do you support the senators' stand that it should be restored to over 600 million?
The thing speaks for itself. When the DBM and the OP submitted the budget to Congress of more than 600 million for CHR, it's there. The MOOE, the personal salaries, the projects, it's all there. So that by itself, it's in the proposed GAA, is already symbolic that the executive respects all of its branches, including its constitutional commission's budgets.
Okay, last two.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, three. Pia Rañada, then Tina Mendez, and Celerina.
For Secretary Lorenzana, sir, could we just get an update on the plan to repair facilities in Pag-asa Island? What is the status and what is the timeline for this?
Hopefully, they have already started because the contracts have been finalized, I think, 2 months ago. and the funds are already available. But it will be done in stages. The first stage is to construct a beaching ramp for our ship to dock, so that they can bring in construction materials and heavy equipment. After that is finished, after that they will bring in the construction materials, and then they will repair the runway. They will first the runway before make it usable on all weather to be cemented. And then later on, they will extend it for another 500 meters to make it flyable for bigger aircrafts. So our timetable is maybe 18 months. We should have started early this year when the water still medyo kalma pa yung tubig. Now, rough weather starts July, so it is now doubtful if the contractor can still go there with their ships. So medyo tumatiming sila ngayon kung ano magandang panahon para magdala ng mga equipment. But it will go on. We have allocated 1.6 billion pesos there for the repair of Pag-asa.
And sir, what will we do if China lodges a protest or speaks against the actions, these repairs?
No, I don't think they will do any violent actions. They will protest. I was told by the ambassador that anything we do there, they are going to protest. It's okay. In a way, whatever you do there, we also protest. So we have a very good working relationship with the Chinese ambassador here. Meron naman tayong code of conduct in South China Sea that will be implemented by all claimants there, saying that status quo muna tayo ngayon, we will not occupy any new features, so that's it. What we are doing is improving our own, the islands that we are occupying. We have occupied since 1969, first time we occupied those islands there in the Kalayaan Island Group. So that's the status quo now. So I'm sure that the repair of Pag-asa will go on smoothly.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Pia. Tina?
Hi again, sir. May we ask for your reaction on North Korea's ballistic missile launch this morning over northern Japan that landed in the Pacific Ocean? How will this affect, sir, the peace and stability in the region?
That is a very dangerous act by the North Korean. First, they keep flying those, sending those missiles up without any reason siguro except to scare us here on the neighboring countries. Pangalawa, their technology is not accurate. Or they might be aiming for some other, but it will drop into another country like the Philippines. Even the president is very much concerned about these missiles from North Korea. So, natatakot tayo dyan. Very concerned. Sabi niya, bumagsak dyan sa Luneta, ano mangyayari sa Manila. And it has, how many? 10 times as powerful as the one dropped in Hiroshima. The 10 times din yung destruction. So, very concerning yan. We are concerned about that. And so, what we are doing now is, meron na tayong ginagawang plan to, if something happens in the Korean Peninsula, magkaroon ng bakbakan dyan, on how to evacuate the Filipinos there. We have about 26,000 Filipinos working in Korea. So, malaking problema yan kung sakasakali. Ngayon, kung magkaroon naman ng tatargetin nila yung Guam, we also have a lot of Filipino Americans there in Guam that might we would like also to evacuate. So, medyo nakakabahala yan yung ginagawa ng North Korea.
Sir, any information on how the Philippine government is coordinating with our military allies regarding this?
Well, we have an alliance with the U.S. We are friendly with Japan and South Korea. And I think the Foreign Affairs is talking to them about how these things, paano gagawin yan. We leave it to the Foreign Affairs Department on how to deal with the foreign government.
Okay.
One more thing, sir, on another issue. Sir, I understand the Philippines is still under the state of national emergency, right?
Yeah, the state of lawlessness and emergency that was declared last September 2016 has not been lifted. So it still covers the whole Philippines.
So can you please refresh our minds on what the President can do under this declaration in view of the upcoming protests by leftist groups?
The normal that we can do under emergency, we can also put up checkpoints, we can establish curfews, just like martial law. Mas maano lang yung martial law, mas patindi ng konti. But almost the same yan eh. We can hold people for, arrest people and hold them for 36 hours. Yung kasing martial law, 72 hours eh. So 36 hours. And then we have to let them go kung wala naman silang, we cannot find any culpable violation of law and we cannot charge them with any cases, we can let them go. Yun lang naman lang ano eh. At yun ang checkpoints, and then intensify operations. We can do that.
Sir, sa tingin niyo ba ito yung iniisip ng Pangulo na while he is ordering the military to allow protests be inside the camps, pwede rin daw siyang itap niya yung mga military pag nagkagulo na?
Yeah, of course. The President has at his disposal the armed forces of the Philippines to quell any disturbances. But first, sabi ko nga kanina, yung police muna dyan kasi sila yung sa internal eh. Police muna, especially sa urban areas. So, they have presence there. Wala naman kaming presence sa Manila. Sila yung may mga sa barangay, may mga patrol sila dyan. Sila muna dyan. Then I said a while ago that if they need more manpower, support, then that's the time we go in.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Last question, Salarina.
Good morning, Celerina Monte po sa The Daily Manila Shimbun.
Good morning.
Secretary Lorenzana, you have mentioned na yung preparations natin if ever sa Japan and sa Guam. How about here in the Philippines? Are we not, kasi you're saying na hindi naman accurate yung North Korea. What if, pero wag naman sana, na dito mag-land? So ano yung preparation? Meron ba tayo like the other countries na, merong like, I don't know kung tunnel ba or how do you call it, I don't know. So meron ba tayong mga ganon?
Yeah. Unfortunately, wala tayong mga air raid shelters. At the height of the Cold War, the US, marami silang underground bunkers, huge bunkers, cement, deep within the earth, kompleto ng tubig, pagkain that will last them for maybe months, because they were afraid that there will be exchange of missile, nuclear weapons with the Russians. So meron sila. Now, those bunkers are now there. Ano pa, pwede pa nilang gamitin. Tayo, wala. Wala naman tayong preparation. Now, I'm going to tell you what the President said. Ano magagawa natin, sabi niya? Wala naman tayong cannot shoot the missile so that it will not come here. Just go your daily, what you are doing regularly, sabi niya. Kung oras muna, sabi naman niya. It's very fatalistic eh. So, that's not a good, siguro, hindi nyo matanggap na good. But that is how the President looks at these things. Kung bumagsak yan sa lunita, ano magagawa natin, sabi niya. At meron niyang warhead na mga 100 kiloton of TNT. So, what can we do? We cannot start digging now, digging for air raid shelters. We just pray and hope siguro that the missile will drop somewhere there in Pacific Ocean.
But sir, are we asking like US and Japan, since allies naman natin sila na like they have their own interceptor ba yung tawag doon na if ever?
No, we have not asked the United States or Japan, but the US has already stationed their Patriot missiles in Japan and also in South Korea, saka yung THAAD nila, yung high altitude, to intercept any missiles coming from North Korea. So we hope that yung kanila doon, yung harang nila, maharangan nila yung papunta rito sa atin.
Okay. Sir, kay Asek Abla naman, sir, you have mentioned that yung process sa Congress is just the start and there's this still the Senate and the BICAM. So are you hopeful na later on the budget of CHR and other two agencies would be restored?
We're very hopeful that the budget we submitted to Congress would be approved by Congress.
Including the three other agencies?
Everything inside it, yes.
And sir, what if like hindi naman siya approve? Like the NCIP, which is directly under the OP, what will happen to that agency?
This is not the first time that there were proposals to reduce the budget by a very big amount. If you recall, several years ago, I think it was 2010, there was a proposal to reduce the budget of OPAP from whatever they proposed to 1 peso. But eventually, Secretary Deles back then got the budget for OPAP. So we feel, again, the reduction of the budgets of the 3 agencies to 1,000 is Congress demanding from these agencies some form of accountability and to justify their budgets. Congress is asking something from these 3 agencies. What they are, we have to ask these agencies. You know, quite recently, this is, I think, the first time that the House of Representatives have live streamed their approval of the budget process. They live streamed the Committee on Appropriations hearing. They live streamed the plenary discussion. And I think we should just recall what were the discussions back then. We have to find out what congressmen were asking from these agencies, and maybe we will find the answers there. But we're still hopeful that the budget we submitted, including all government agencies plus those offices, will be approved by the Congress. That's how our checks and balances works under the Constitution. Until that is changed, we have to respect it.
Okay, thank you. Last na talaga question to. Tuesday niyo.
Hi sir, Tuesday sir. Sir, natakot ako doon sa sinabi mo. Gusto ko pa mabuhay. Pero in the future...
Pareho tayo.
Kaya nga sir. Yung ano na lang sir, yung future na tinitignan natin, wala pa tayong plano
Meron
na
tayo.
gumawa nung ganon. For Filipinos na maging safe naman in the future dahil nga hindi natin alam kung anong iniisip nung gumagawa ng mga missile na yan.
I think what we are doing now is we are part of a global coalition that will try to prevent the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Hindi lang nuclear yan eh, pwede rin biological at saka chemical. So we are part of that, member tayo dyan. In fact, when I was the defense attaché in the US, I participated in a symposium in the United Nations, and we are part of that. So yan ang una natin gagawin. Pangalawa, if something happens here, it will be treated as a disaster, a human-made disaster, and in the RMC, hopefully, our first responders will survive the first yung attack, and we can only respond. But we have some contingencies also to deal with that. So siguro ang una natin gawin ay itigil yung paggawa ng mga nuclear weapons, because if it falls into the hands of the bad guys, they can do it any place, anywhere they want, or anytime. Nakakatakot yun eh. Kaya nga meron tayong non-proliferation treaties with the other countries in all the world para yung mga hindi responsible na countries like North Korea will not be able to obtain them.
Okay, thank you sir.
Okay, thank you Tuesday. Thank you Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. Thank you PCOO Assistant Secretary Attorney Balan. Any may message pa sir? May statement pa sir? May statement ka?
Yes. Before we adjourn for this morning, just to reiterate what Secretary Lorenzana already briefed the Malacañang press corps earlier, our updates on Mindanao. This is day 116. In Marawi, and the data is good as 7 p.m. of September 14. You can see on the screen. The total enemies killed is 670. The total civilians killed is 47, no change. The total of firearms recovered is 692, an additional of 7 firearms recovered yesterday. Unexploded ordnance recovered, total is 11, no change. Total civilians rescued is also 107.28, no change. The total killed in action is 147, as mentioned earlier by Secretary Lorenzana. Insofar as the status of cash donations are concerned, the information is good as of 3 p.m. yesterday, September 14. We have an additional of 65 million from the Chinese embassy, and as mentioned by the Secretary of National Defense, This 65 million is for the soldiers wounded in action. So we have a total of 80 million. For our internally displaced persons in Marawi, we have 993,340 and 21 centavos. And before we end the Mindanao Hour today, let me just share some good news from the NEDA and the DOTR. The Department of Transportation's Metro Manila Subway Project, or MMSP, one of the Duterte administration's key infrastructure projects, has been approved by NEDA last Tuesday, September 12. The construction of the MMSP, amounting to 355.6 billion pesos, will start early in 2018 and is expected to be completed by 2025. The Philippines' first subway project, funded through the Official Development Assistance, or ODA, coming from the Japanese government, will run from Quirino Highway in Quezon City to Naya Complex in Parañaque. Details will be further disclosed by the Department of Transportation. That ends the announcements for this morning. Thank you, Rocky.
Okay, thank you, PCO Assistant Secretary Atty. Chris Ablan. Thank you, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps and guests. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.